Joining me now, One Nation National Executive Member Lee Hanson and our Monday regular Menzies Research Centre Senior Fellow Nick Cater. Welcome to you both. A cracker of the piece from you today, Nick, in The Australian, making the very important point that even in the cheapest power countries, renewables are subsidised, and that's been the mainstay here in Australia. There's all this discussion today that come December, the power subsidies propping up prices, which are already high anyway. That will go. And the Libs, though, are anguishing about whether they should drop this beast of a policy and start taking Labor on over cost of living. I think that's not even a question that's worth debating.
No, well, I just can't wait till next week, Peter, when hopefully they'll have dumped this net zero commitment and can get on with attacking Labor, which they haven't really done for 6 years, really, since 2019. And they need to, because there's so much that needs to be highlighted about Labor's policy at the moment. Number one, the cost and the fact that there are subsidies going in there in order to keep investors coming in to invest. And that will continue ad infinitum. There's no sign they will ever go away because, as you say, even in India, where the price of putting in solar and wind is very low, there are still subsidies. That's number one, the cost. And number two, as you pointed out at the weekend, the reliability issue. You know, we are only one hot day away from a serious crash, or as the AEMO likes to call it, unserved energy use. That's what they call a blackout. And they say the chances of that over the next 2 years are pretty high.
Well, I understand, Lee, and you know politics, you've grown up with it yourself. The Libs are out there saying we can't drop net zero. We absolutely need it to win seats. We need it to win, in particular, back the teal seats in the inner city capital cities. But they've had net zero for the last two elections. They've never had worse results other than the last two elections. If you want an example of what net zero does to your party, it decimates you to the point that they are at a 24% primary vote. Yet there's clowns in the party say, keep it up, we want more of the same.
Correct. You're spot on. And why? Because there's no real distinction these days between the Liberal Party and the Labor Party. People want difference. People want to know what they stand for. And it's not clear. People are unclear of what the Liberal Party actually stand for. They're too busy sitting on the fence, being moderates, waiting for the polls to tell them what they think they should do in order to win votes, rather than having conviction, rather than having a strong stance and debating the issues to ensure that real outcomes and better outcomes happen through Parliament. And this is why we're seeing the rise in the polls. Now, honestly, sure, Liberal Party are going to have the debate this week, should they scrap net zero? I don't think they will, personally. I cannot see it happening. They might drop the term, but are they really going to exit the Paris Agreement? They won't. Of course they're not going to. They're too moderate. One Nation is still the only party that is saying, let's get out of Paris Agreement, let's reduce the cost of living, save our businesses, save our smelters, our jobs, our farmers and the bush.
Nick, are you surprised to read this morning that the Wurundjeri people of Melbourne have put in a native title claim over most of the area of Greater Melbourne? So for all intents and purposes, what we know is the capital city of Melbourne, all the way out to the outer suburbs now, is subject to a native title claim.
I'm not surprised, because this has become a money-making venture for several Aboriginal groups around the country. They simply put a claim over something and then they expect subsidies, they expect money from the developers or whoever in order to allow X or Y to go ahead. It's a total corruption of the land rights legislation, the intent of this. It needs desperately to be revised. I'm not confident that Labor has the spirit to do it. Jacinta Price would have done it if the coalition had got in. Another reason why we need to lament the appalling results in the May election.